What's going on, guys? I'm Entity Maze, here with my review of the latest Pokemon Sun and Moon anime episode, episode 62. The evil Meowth is Alolan Meowth. With that simple intro now said though, get relaxed everybody, as I will now jump right into this episode review. So the episode begins off with Ash giving his Pokemon some snacks, which was a very useless scene, so let's just go to the main focus, which is Meowth. He was so excited to eat a limited edition ice cream he saved up for, however, he saw that Jessie was eating it, which makes him really sad and run away screaming that he hates her. We're only like 1 minute and a bit into this episode, and I laughed so hard, as it's just wow that he's crying over ice cream. Anyway, before we move on to the next scene, I do also want to say that the animators paid so much detail on Jessie eating the ice cream, which made me feel weird, as, well, I can't really say. All I'll say is, your boy has a dirty mind. Regardless, what happens next in the story is that Meowth falls into a puddle and then meets an Alolan Meowth, who was shown to willing to help Meowth. However, he just straight up rejected him afterwards because Team Rocket was approaching, which this Alolan Meowth then pretends to be their Meowth, just covered in dirt, which I thought was really clever. Once Alolan Meowth arrives in Team Rocket's base, Alolan Meowth helps Jessie and James to try and gain their trust. But that scene ends quickly, as Meowth comes storming back into the base screaming at Team Rocket saying that Alolan Meowth is nasty and of course that it is not him, which is where they then find out that it's actually an Alolan Meowth form, a dark type, which Jessie and James get super hype as they thought they could finally use their dark type Sea Crystal, especially seeing as Alolan Meowth shows how to do a Z move pose too. Meowth was very jealous of this too, as he wants to be the one to use the Z move. But when Alolan Meowth asks if they have a Z-ring, they reply that they don't, which Alolan Meowth then had to shatter their dreams, as of course they need to find a Z-ring first. Giovanni then contacts the Team Rocket trio, and sees this Alolan Meowth by Team Rocket's side, which he is impressed that they actually have one, and want them to find out more information about it. Like, wow, that's really cool that he's actually impressed for once. In fact, Team Rocket felt the same way and asked Alolan Meowth to join as their new partner, which it does, just not getting caught as it explains it wants to pick its master, just needing time to think first. As soon as I saw this scene though, it was pretty much obvious that we all knew Alolan Meowth was up to no good, especially afterwards when it starts to torture Meowth in all kinds of ways. My favourite having to be when it got Mimikyu to kill Meowth. That was really funny. For sure by the end of this series though, Meowth will have like 1 out of 9 lives left. Regardless, going back to the story, once Meowth comes back to life after the Mimikyu incident, he gets really sad again, because of course he feels like he's being replaced by this other Meowth, which Jessie and James don't even see how it tortures Meowth too. He then lets out all his feels about this at the Oranguru bar, acting drunk, which is just perfect. Also during this though, Meowth finally comes up with a plan to get rid of Alolan Meowth, giving this creepy expression. We then see this plan play out the next day. Meowth just simply steals Rowlet when nobody was looking and told Alolan Meowth to meet him outside the Pokemon School, which he then hands Rowlet to it and runs away. So the classmates I guess could defeat Alolan Meowth in a battle, which Meowth would show how weak he is to Jessie and James. Before we move on though, I do also want to say that I liked seeing Ash and Kiori having a training battle. There were some cool strategies there too. But this is what we really need to see more in the Sun and Moon anime, training battles. I can't express it enough. Anyway, going back to this story, Alolan Meowth takes on a challenge against Pikachu, and how it stopped its quick attack was funny. He just simply moved out the way and poked Pikachu's nose. Absolutely brilliant. It then used a Thunderbolt of its own and aimed it towards the classmates, which was a really smart move. Regardless, the classmates dodge this Thunderbolt though. However, they do then fall in a hole that Team Rocket made. Classic Team Rocket. Team Rocket then managed to get Pikachu, who was outside the hole, into a capsule, successfully catching it. Just overall, this plan was amazing to watch, and one of the best we've seen in a while. Meowth confused then finds out that Alolan Meowth used Meowth as bait so this Pikachu plan could happen with Team Rocket, which makes Meowth mad. However, they all retreated so they could get the win, while the classmates actually managed to get out the hall using Turtonator, which was also quite clever to me, but Ash messed up badly. Regardless, Rowlet, who finally woke up, shows Ash and his classmates where Team Rocket fled to, which makes Team Rocket surprised that they managed to find them so quickly. So, they get ready to battle. However, when Mimikyu gets sent out, it accidentally sets Pikachu free from the capsule, as of course it went to attack it. And I knew that would happen straight away when it got sent out. Thanks to Pikachu being free now though, Ash and Pikachu then decide to use their Z move on Team Rocket, which they then tried to ask for Alolan Meowth's help, but it mysteriously disappeared. So, Team Rocket gets sent off blasting in the air, which Beware then catches them in another extremely weird yet funny way. I love Beware. The episode then ends off a couple days later after this event, and Team Rocket are discussing how Alolan Meowth never returned to their base. But they then get a transmission from Giovanni which reveals that he has the Alolan Meowth, it now being his assistant Pokemon, congratulating Team Rocket for a job well done. Once Giovanni leaves though, Alolan Meowth actually sends his own transmission, which is where he reveals that he took all of Meowth's savings to get a plane ticket to Kanto and try and gain their trust from Giovanni, as he got interested in their work earlier on, which was a hilarious ending as Team Rocket got so annoyed that out of everybody, it got the promotion and that it actually tricked them, making Meowth right all along. Regardless with that story now said though, let's now move on to my overall thoughts of this episode. Firstly, for what I thought about this episode before watching it, to be honest, the summaries didn't really make me excited for this episode. However, when we got the preview, it finally got me interested in the episode. And why that was, is because the final scene of the preview was James showing the Dark-type Z Crystal to the Alolan Meowth, which made me think that they would finally use it in this episode and possibly find a Z-Ring. Apart from that though, the rest of the episode just looked very simple story-wise to me. We were getting the Meowth episode, which was inedible because we had already got a Jessie and James episode. And finally, to make Meowth rivals against an Alolan Meowth was an obvious story I saw happening in the future, but yet a good idea regardless. Now that you guys know my initial thoughts though, let's now move on to what I thought about the actual episode story. Firstly, I'll say this, much like my initial thoughts, it did have a simple plot. However, it did surprise me in certain areas, such as the ending. That was a great plan overall from Alolan Meowth and it built up very nicely. In fact, I just in general like how this episode wasted no time with getting into the main plot, except for the Ash scene in the beginning, but still, it had good pacing afterwards. Secondly, this episode's story actually had that big of an impact on me that I actually felt sad for Meowth. Just nobody would listen to him about Alolan Meowth or see him getting bullied basically. My body just couldn't not feel bad for him. And to top this off, the anime creators portrayed Meowth's characteristics amazingly within this episode. You could see them shine even more than before. But maybe that's because there's an actual episode focused on him though. Regardless of that though, let's now talk about the Z Crystal again. Of course, what I wanted to happen with the Z Crystal didn't happen, but I still found it to be a good introduction because now hopefully Team Rocket will go out and try and find a Z-Ring. And of course, it's confirmed that Nano will be appearing soon in this anime, which he could be the one to help them out, seeming as he's an expert when it comes to dark type related stuff. I'm very confident that this would be happening and it would be extremely cool. Talking about dark types too, I guess this is the perfect time to explain my thoughts on Alolan Meowth's character. I loved him so much. You could really see how evil he was through its facial expressions and of course what it did to Meowth. Made great comedy too. Just to see it battle nicely too was amazing. I really hope we can see this Pokemon appear again in the future with all this awesomeness it portrayed. You know what though? I really wish this happened in the episode. Team Rocket giving their motto, but Alolan Meowth interrupts Meowth. That'd have been more great comedy and show its sassiness more. Finally, for this story section though, although this has nothing to do with the story, I still wanted to say that I like how this Ultra Guardian arc is looking like it's not being rushed, as straight after its first episode, we got this episode, which has no plot importance at all, and even the next episodes look like they don't too. So, this already feels good progression-wise for me. That's all I have to say for this story section though. I legit don't really have any nitpicks with this episode. So, let's now move on to the animation and music aspects of this episode. Firstly, for the animation, I believe the anime creator showed emotion greatly in this episode. Of course, I'm mainly talking about within Meowth. Just look how much detail the creators put into this creepy expression. And finally, I guess the final highlight would be, once again like many other episodes, the artwork they showed towards the end of the episode. I just always love to look at them. As for the music aspects though, I really enjoyed listening to the tunes in this episode. Most of it was the trainer and wild Pokemon themes from the Pokemon Sun and Moon games, which fit perfectly in areas, and I just adore to listen to them anyway, being one of the best themes for battles in my opinion. And finally, I loved the creepy music that played when Meowth died, and whatever the tune was towards the end of this episode. So once again, the music department was on point during this episode. Very nice. With everything I've said in this video though, I've decided to give this episode a rating of 7 out of 10. I did really enjoy this episode, however, I'm sorry that this review isn't as detailed as my other ones have been. It's difficult for me to explain how much I enjoy or dislike episodes when it doesn't really have any plot importance. Weird, I know, but that's just how it works for me. But hopefully you still enjoyed, and if you did, then be sure to leave a like and a subscribe for future Pokemon content. It helps out a ton. Also, let me know in the comments down below what you actually thought of this episode. I'd love to hear. But yeah, that wraps it up for this video now. So for now, this is Entity Maze, signing out.